So a few months ago, I did a video ranking popular modern guitarists, and today we're going to be changing it up a bit and ranking popular instrumental bands. Now, all of these bands aren't exactly instrumental, but they're all under that umbrella of progressive rock music, and they all kind of share that same energy that's found across guitar-based music. So for the sake of this video, instrumental. So I selected 10 bands that you may or may not know that I've been listening to throughout the past 10 years. Let's not waste any time. Go ahead and put on your big boy pants or big girl pants, and let's get into this ranking. Now, it's possible that many of you may not have heard of this band, but it's Arc Echo. I remember seeing Arc Echo's first release back in 2016, and I do believe they are the newest band on this list. The music that Arc Echo makes brings a very bright and colorful sound, if that makes sense. It's difficult for me to describe, but it's like heavy jazz with a touch of progressive rock. Personally, I don't find the guitar phrasings in their songs to be very exciting, but their keyboard player is absolutely phenomenal. And his versatility is what brings the band's contrasting sounds together. They make good music, but honestly, I only listen to them for the keys because that's honestly what's pulling most of the weight. And the guitars do sound better depending on the track that you're listening to, but it's not the star by any means. If you've never listened to Arc Echo, go check them out and you'll hear exactly what I'm talking about. The keys are OP as hell though. For everything I mentioned, they're not bad, but in my opinion, they're not that great either. Next up, we have the metal giants, Periphery. Periphery is a great band, but it isn't my go-to style of music. I listened to them a lot more in high school, but I can still appreciate some of the tracks that they've been putting out. And one thing about Periphery is that they make lengthy songs. If your music is long enough for an ad to be placed in the middle of your music video, it's too long. Mark Holcomb and Misha Mansour are both capable of writing some beautiful guitar pieces. And personally, I think I would like the band more if it was an actual instrumental band. I just find myself wanting more of the guitars and less of the vocals. Some of their tracks for me are hit or miss, but their album Select Difficulty from 2016 and 2019's Hail Stan are easily my favorite projects from them. Like I said, this isn't a genre that I'm overly obsessed with, but there are a few songs that I'm always down to listen to. Based on the fact that I love the guitar work, sometimes I love the vocals, good songs, I'm gonna put them in great. A tier band indeed, probably S just depending on who you're talking to. You remember these guys? If you don't know this next band, honestly, I don't know why you're watching the video. Chon. That happy, bright, sunshine energy that Chon is able to express in their music is unmatched, literally unmatched. And this band has had a huge influence on how I view instrumental guitar music. I think my favorite part about Chon is that they deliver exactly what you want, and they understand the significance of just making good music. They get the task. The fact that they're no longer active as a band hurts my soul, but the nostalgia and positive memories I've developed around their music, it'll stay with me. I can click on a Chon song anytime, and it's gonna give me that same feeling that I had when I initially listened to it. It's timeless indeed. Honestly, I'm just not sure what else to say other than that their music is perfect for them. With each track, I can feel exactly what I was intended to feel, and Chon does such a good job with making each song stand on its own. Very rarely can I listen to an album all the way through and not feel like I've heard the same song several times. Mario and Eric are some of the most polished guitar players I have ever seen. I've watched nearly every video live of them that exists, and they don't miss.
They don't miss.
Every song has that primary melody that kind of serves as a chorus, and they're all very memorable. I could talk about how much I love this band all day, so you know what that means. S tier. Come on. It's Chon. Come on. Chon is S tier, and it's a fact. It's a literal fact. Don't even question that. Next up, we have Animals as Leaders. No one does what Animals as Leaders does better than Animals as Leaders. Textured guitar melodies with so much substance, yet full of emotion. It's what they do best. This band is nothing but absurdly talented musicians with impressive musical backgrounds. So of course, when they come together, they make something monumental. The contemporary dancing music videos also that they released with some of their tracks from Parasia, I felt like perfectly illustrated their music. Similar to contemporary dancing, their music is art that's full of technicality and implied feelings, all while being intriguing for the audience. Of course, I can't listen to Animals as Leaders all the time, but when I do, it's like scratching that good itch, you know that spot on your back? Beautiful compositions, even better playing, and great execution. Easily one of my favorite instrumental bands. It's an S, baby, come on. Now, next on the chopping block, we have Sky Harbor. Sky Harbor is an interesting case. They haven't released a project since 2018, but they have several songs that I've been listening to for years. And I said songs, not projects. Not projects. Their album Guiding Lights from 2014 was way better than the album they released in 2018, and even though Guiding Lights was a solid album, there were only a few songs that really hit the mark for me. One of those songs being Evolution. There's about 4 Sky Harbor songs that I listen to semi-regularly, but Evolution is one of my favorite metal songs of all time. Good band that had potential, but a ton of their songs just sound like extensions of each other. However, when they do make a good song, it is good. But just taking into account the caliber of the other bands on this list, they're not bad. They're not bad. Good music for the most part, but not on par with the way I feel about some of these other guys. Now, let's talk about the boy band of the decade, Polyphia. Polyphia does a lot of things really well. And my favorite thing about them is that each track holds a lot of weight. Each one is different by nature, that introduces new sounds, new production style. Every new release packs a punch for the most part. There's several things that don't really do it for me in terms of musical appeal with this band, but the tracks I like by Polyphia, I love. Reverie is one I've been listening to a good bit lately, but there's several songs that get stuck in my head for days. While their new projects have more misses for me than previous ones, there's no doubt they know how to make music. I definitely believe there's things that they can do better, but in terms of the music they make, it is really good. And I've made several videos giving my thoughts on Polyphia, so go check those out if you want to hear more. But for here, I'll keep it short and sweet. It's an A-tier band. Polyphia is an A-tier band. I'm not a person that's an absolute die-hard fan for Polyphia. I do think there's still room that they can improve on, but overall, they know how to make music. They know how to make music, good guitar playing, good production. It's honestly just whether or not you like the style. Coming up, we have Unprocessed. Unprocessed has been in my daily rotation for a while, and I really love their style. Their music has a strong presence, and several of the songs are quite memorable. Manuel's guitar work in Unprocessed couldn't be any better to match his vocals and that overall production style they have. I've been absolutely all for the last few releases, and I'm excited to see how they keep up that momentum with projects to come. For me, their music is a lot of what I like. Melodic guitars, clean expressive vocals, and then the occasional heavy breakdown. The thing that really gets me is that their music gives a lot without necessarily being a lot. They just play into what they do really well, and it works. Easily one of my favorite bands at the moment. So based off of what I mentioned, you guys probably saw it coming. S tier for me. S tier. Now for a band that I don't think I've ever really talked about on this channel, Scale the Summit. Scale the Summit is probably the most vanilla band when it comes to progressive rock music. Every song is undeniably good, but none of it really gives anything fresh or exciting. I feel like their music is like the jazz lounge version of progressive instrumental music. They've been around since the early 2000s, and honestly, there's nothing more to them than good instrumental music. There's a few tracks that bring a unique energy, but like I said, it's nothing too special. In their most recent 2021 album, Subjects, they did change it up by having guest vocalists on all of the tracks, but again, it's music that unfortunately just doesn't provide much to really keep you coming back. If you do need some casual guitar music for a road trip though, this is it. Scale the Summit would be the move. So I'm gonna put them in B. Scale the Summit is a solid band, nothing more to say. Now, you may or may not have heard of the next band we're talking about, Vitalism. This is one of those bands that I feel should be a bit bigger than they are. The guitar playing in their music is exceptional, and it's kind of the epitome of progressive guitar music. It's exactly what you would think about when you hear the term. Vitalism has a few really good songs, but they also haven't released much music across the almost decade that they've been a thing. And by not many, I mean not even 20 songs. Actually, it may not even be 15. It's not many at all. Some songs are better than others, as always, but there isn't really that thing that makes them Vitalism. And I think in order to really be a successful band, there has to be something specific that brings listeners to your music. And despite the lack of music and barely a handful of unique tracks, there's just not much to grab onto. So for that reason, not bad, but they're not really present anymore, and also there's just not enough substance for me. Last but certainly not least, we have Covet. Covet is another band I've been listening to for quite some time, and also I was unaware that Yvette recently changed the lineup for the band. She swapped out both the bassist and the drummer, and I think bringing in new additives to a band will help to freshen and liven things up a bit. So that's going to be exciting for the future. Overall, Covet has a style and structure that is consistent across all of their music, but their newest album, Catharsis, is probably some of the best music I've heard from them in a while. Covet's music is very imaginative and lighthearted. As a band, the music is fun to listen to, and I'm a big lover of the reverb, indie, math rock sound, and I'm always down to listen to their music. Similar to Scale the Summit, however, very few of the tracks really stand out, but it's great music, and you can really feel the passion behind the playing. So for those reasons, Covet's a B. It's solid music, not much else to say. Now, this list is just a visual representation of how I feel about the bands that are presented here. In the S tier, we have Chon. Who can argue with Chon being there? Come on. I don't even want to hear shade about that. Animals is Leaders, just a textbook band. They do it right, very proper. Unprocessed is just a personal favorite of mine. I've really been enjoying their music. All right, in the A tier, we have Periphery and Polyphia. Hopefully seeing Polyphia not at the top doesn't make you cry, but Polyphia is a great band. They're a good band. I think it really just comes down to personal taste and how much you really like what they're doing. Because what they're doing is good, but not for everyone. In B tier, we have Scale the Summit and Covet, both bands that have discographies that you can literally just put on in the background. For both of those bands, you can just listen and just get lost in the music they make. And last, we have our not bad C-list, Arc Echo, Sky Harbor, and Vitalism. All bands that are still great, and they're also probably the smallest of the list here. These are bands that just don't quite do it for me, to be completely honest. That's it. Even Sky Harbor, they have a few songs I love, but not the biggest fan in the world. I would love to hear your thoughts on where you would rank everyone that I put in the list. Think I messed up? You think some people belong higher, lower? I want to hear it. Let me know. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.